studied geology in both undergrad and graduate school. It's kind of a funny story how I literally fell into geology because I needed to take a science class my freshman year of college and happened to take geology of natural hazards, of all things, and fell in love with the science, the major, the people, and the rest is kind of history from there. Didn't really know what I still wanted to do when I graduated undergrad. So I talked to the department chairs, my mentor. They said, as a geology graduate student, you can find somewhere that has funding for you. And as an undergrad, that sounded great. So I ended up at University of Colorado in Boulder, which was very far from home and a definite step out, but ended up with a geology degree from there as well, and master's degree. Did an internship with an oil and gas company between my 2 years of graduate school, and the rest, again, is history. My first job after university was with Marathon Oil here in Houston, Texas, and I was an operations geologist on our Bakken asset team. And so that meant I was monitoring the geosteering of the horizontal wells that Marathon was currently drilling on their acreage. And that ebbed and flowed into becoming a development geologist, so being more in charge of all the planning and the actual mapping instead of just solely geosteering the wells. So I'm currently actually still doing development geology, but one of the fun things that I've been able to do that's really kind of relates to image and the fact that we're meshing geology and geophysics together is we're utilizing our seismic data within our operations and our geosteering. And so I have the fun job of working with our geophysicist and basically correlating and meshing our mapping with the seismic mapping and then the structural interpretation and what we're actually doing while we're drilling and doing that real time. And so that's been a lot of fun to kind of integrate both disciplines that hasn't happened for me personally in the past. So what I would say first of all is sometimes you hear the word STEM and science and engineering and math and you don't think creativity, but I would say that that's not true, and it's actually the opposite. You can be beyond creative in a STEM role, regardless of what that is. It's not just number crunching all day, every day. And that's been the really exciting part about being a geologist specifically, is that our job is creative. We can't see what's going on 2 miles below our feet, but we can utilize all of the data we have and make interpretations and brainstorm about different ideas and what's actually going on. And so that's one of the coolest things I think about a STEM career, is that it is going to be what you make of it, and that creativity never goes away. It actually becomes more important the longer you're in the STEM career. So I'll start out and just kind of share a little bit about my personal life first, since you all know I'm a geologist already. So I have 2 kids. They are now 8 and 10, and married to my husband and dog. We have 2 dogs too, and so the fur babies are important in our family as well. Work-life balance is a really tough subject to talk about, but it's really important. And it's taken me a long time to figure out how to have those kind of conversations. And so when I started, I was actually pregnant with my daughter on my first day of work. And that's kind of a strange occurrence to a certain extent. I was lucky to work for a company that embraced that and was very open as far as, family assistance and flexible work to a certain extent. The expectation at that point in time was to still be in the office every day. One of the blessings in disguise of COVID is that has now changed, and we have flexible work schedules. Are there days when life gets really hard and you're at the office for 12 hours and trying to provide childcare and be a mom and be a spouse and be a full-time employee? Absolutely. And that is always going to be there, and that's okay. And it's okay to talk about, I think, and we have to talk about it. I think that's really important. And I'm always very open to sharing, my personal journey, because it's been fairly unique to a certain extent. But talking to more, women and, moms and dads, it's not that unique anymore, which I think is the really cool part. And so we're embracing things. We're doing things to support, mothers that may need a nursing room so they can attend a conference like Image. And, we're making those changes, which is really important. So, my work life is when I need to go get my kids, I go get my kids. And, that may mean I throw in a couple extra hours at some point in the future or at a random time of day. But I pride myself on trying to find an employer that supports that. And I've been pretty lucky in my career thus far. But what I would say is, it's okay to tell your employer or your boss and have that conversation of, hey, I need to leave early today because my kid has an event or my spouse has an event or I have to do this for my family. And I think those conversations are getting easier just because we've all had the COVID, video screens for 2 years. And now we're excited to be back in person, but that still doesn't alleviate the childcare needs or the family needs. And so it's just a different conversation now. And I would tell, especially young people that think, do I have to choose? Can I have a family? Can I do it all? Yes, you can. It's going to be really difficult. But that's why I think it's important to find supporters in that as well. I could talk about this all day, but it's important to you need to be honest and ask the question, because if you don't ask the question of, let's talk about flexible work, it may not be there. And nobody knows that you need that. But family definitely comes first. We like to use the phrase, I don't live to work, I work to live. And I think that is really important to not forget about.